Hello and welcome. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for November 15th through November 23rd of 2017. I am so grateful to be with you here today, and thank you new subscribers. Thank you everyone for all of your support with my new live stream show, 4D Trinity. If you can't make the live stream, know that the reruns are available on a playlist entitled 4D Trinity, so do stop by. This week the theme is all about spiritual weight loss. We're going to look at the metaphysics, the invisible realms of why mentally and emotionally we're keeping weight on, and ways that we can safely, with love and with joy, let go. Okay, let's get started this week. Here we go. We'll take a moment, take a breath as we shuffle the cards, and we'll call in our angels, our guides, ascended masters, divine loved ones perhaps that have left this life, that are still with us in spirit, guiding us, holding space for our highest good. Call in our guardian angels, all those divine, beloved light beings, and of course our animal totems. We call you in that you may hold space, that we may receive the divine illumination that this reading holds for one and all, with the greatest ease, with the greatest lightness, and that these messages be emblazoned with love. May love speak on my tongue through me and communicate your divine messages, all highest love and light, in the most beautiful and perfect ways, that everyone who watches this show, this tarot reading for this week, gets exactly what they need, that they get what will serve them along their path. And so it is. Okay, I'm getting to split the deck in half. 3 from this. Ooh, and 2 fell out. Existence. We've definitely been there before. Possibilities. Awareness. Very illumined so far. And from the second deck, we're going to pick 3. I'm feeling to go for the top. Past lives. Oh, I am so feeling this. Are you feeling this week? If not yet, you probably will. Okay, here we go. Completion. Okay, this was a layover from last week, and now one more. Maturity. We had this recently too. Okay, we're going to hold for now. I'm going to put the deck together, and if we're guided, we will pull another one. But for now, let's go ahead and put these cards together and see what's going on. Wow, what a powerful week. So remember last week, the top row, we had completion, we had, what did we have? I know we had 3 really heavy-bevy. Third eye, we had completion, silence, and what was that other third eye one? There were 3, and they were so uber powerful, and it was all about opening up our third eye and really getting into our practices that allow us to sustain that ability to see with that light sight lit, to see through the lens of love in the world. So it's very interesting because here we have on the top row the card that is existence, which is fully in alignment with all of those practices, all of those cards that came into our reading last week. And in the middle is possibilities, and then on the other side we have awareness, which is, they're both major arcanas, and they're both super, super powerful in the realms of our self-realization and of self-mastery, and really coming into new levels of enlightenment in our mind, in our bodies, and through our multidimensional being. So, and then on the bottom row, it's interesting because we do have our completion card that we had last week, but we also have past lives near it. So we're going to get into that here shortly. What I'm getting is this existence, and we talk about this a lot around here. This existence, we couldn't have gotten here to this plane of contemplation and consideration had we not been disciplined in spending this last week or so with our practices, with going within, with connecting to our higher self, with connecting to a higher source and calling on the wisdom from that plane. We've been doing our work, and we've been we've been acclimating to new levels of love and light. And this is what this card shows us this week. This is now representing us, where we are at a new level of existence, a new level of experiencing and exchanging information with the cosmos. And look at this. So all those purple diamonds in the bottom represent that these cards in the Osho Zen deck are of the major arcana. And I like that this has the one here, because you know what we say around here. The one is what we get to through our meditations, through our practices, our Reiki, being in nature, all those things that allow us to experience a sense of unity consciousness. All of those practices bring us into a space of oneness, of being at one with ourselves, with our environments, and with all that surrounds. And it's in that plane of being one, of realizing that we are one, that we gain entryway into zero. Now, in the teachings I share, zero is equal to 0 point energy, which is equal to the power of love that has no opposite. I believe that love is the founding presence of all creation in this universe. All the matrix, all the things that you could ever think that are or that were, actually rest in, on, and through love. And love rests in, on, and through everything else. It is the eternal foundational element of all creation. Okay, I just had to pop away there for a second. So it is the foundation of all creation. And it's when we tap that love, that frequency of love, that we have access to that eternal energy that only requires us to become one in order that it be activated. And from there, it becomes perpetual motion. Love, as long as we allow ourselves to surrender to it, carries us. We become carried by it. So through our practices in this last week, and that we are going to continue doing this week, we are invited to be carried, to continue surrendering to a higher order, to continue surrendering to your higher self, to the wisdom that you receive. So as much as you have been letting go and letting God, letting go and letting love, imagine that there's even more. There's even more mystical, magical synchronicities for your life. So as much as you've been experiencing those levels of existence in your being, there is more. There is more, right? As we become enlightened, doors open and doors close. That which no longer serves us is relinquished, is naturally released. That there is an innate alignment with that which has always resided, and that is your true self. And I don't want to tell you what your divine alignment is. That's for you to discover. But I know from my own experience that it is rooted in love. And I feel that others that have gone on that journey agree, to a degree, that love is the truth. And when we fall into this existence, and I love how that was one and this is two, we arrive into a new realm of possibility. When we surrender to a cosmic order, and we, on purpose and consciously, meld and merge with a higher order, call it into us, welcome it, and say, show me, and say, tell me, and we start to ask the universe questions, what happens is the new possibilities start to arrive. The universe starts to show us new answers, new possibilities in our world. And often we are asking questions that continue to serve a limiting frame of experience. And when we learn to ask the right kind of questions, the universe can then show us different kinds of answers. So in asking the right kinds of questions, I love these questions. We're asking the universe for divine answers. Not the answers that we can think up in our own head, but we're giving it to a higher power. We're giving our questions to a higher order, that they may be given their rite of passage and given back to us in ways that we are not expecting them. We are moving this week out of asking specific questions and into asking a general question. And I love these two questions by Gary Douglas. He offers that we ask daily. Ask the universe, ask God, ask Source. How does it get better than this? So even if you're living like the life of your dreams, you love how amazing and blessed you feel in your life right now, you can ask, how does it get better than this, universe? Drop the mic and let the universe come back and show you, right? Let it go. Don't then wait and like try to figure it out. It has nothing to do with your mind. Just ask, plant the seed, let it go, and let the universe show you. The second question I love is, what is the best thing that can happen? So again, whether a situation seems to be working out in your favor, or it seems to be kind of not doing that much in working out in your favor, universe, what's the best thing that can happen? You know, or you're talking about a family member who's ill and who's not going to the doctor and not taking care of themselves. Instead of like judging them and projecting all sorts of your judgments on them, you just simply ask God, ask Source, what's the best thing that can happen? And you leave it alone. And so in that way, we are allowing a general, a wider scope of possibility for universe to come in and sweep in and not only give you one specific tiny little answer to a specific tiny little question, but to rather, with a broad paintbrush stroke, offer answers, solutions, basically alignments for the highest good for all those involved in whatever is your consideration at that time. So we're not asking, universe, how does it get better than this? Because I have a flat tire and I need to pay the rent and my boss really sucks. And we're not going into all that specific fine line stuff. And believe me, it is a tool. It is important to know self-mastery and how to master your mind and to be conscious and to be a conscious co-creator. But this week, we're allowing ourselves to be a conscious co-creator with that source which is greater than us. And there's a difference, okay? We are being initiated into learning to trust in Source in a greater and greater way that has our back and that is fully aligned in our existence here on this planet and what we're here to do, be, and embody. Now, a third question that I love asking is one that I was given in meditation that is simply to ask, how blessed am I? Universe, how blessed am I? And let the universe show you, just step back and let the universe show you. So the thing again is that we're moving away from asking those kinds of questions that keep us locked in. Like, why hasn't it happened yet? Why didn't he call me? When is that job going to get back to me about that interview I went on? Why am I always broke? Those are not the right kinds of questions to get the kinds of answers that we're in training for this week, that we're working to connect those synapses of like asking the right kinds of questions that are going to offer a broad stroke, a generalization of answers to come, where it's not just going to answer one tiny little fractal of a question, but rather a huge landscape of possibility and answers will be bestowed. And so these new levels of awareness come to pass. Things about your path and your journey that you were unaware of before come to the surface for you to be illumined by, for you to be inspired by, as those breadcrumbs along your trail for you to go, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. There are so many things that I've done and put on the shelf, and now that I'm like, okay, it's really time now. I've been writing for all these years, and now it's time to really like put the pedal to the metal and make these books that I have all this content for. And then I fall into this lull, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do now? And when I try to figure it out myself, and with what I think makes sense logically, it doesn't always necessarily feel right. But when I relax, get into the 0, into the 1, ask the right questions, what happens is, I come back into this place of like surrendering, because ultimately the books are not my books. So what creations Are you manifesting? Are you working towards bridging down to earth? I invite you to consider that they do not belong to you. You are simply a shepherd along the way. Those books, those albums, those paintings, those monologues, those scripts, those whatever it is that you create, the ideas for landscaping, gardens, whatever it might be, imagine that those belong to Source. Those are actually gods. Those belong to a higher power, and you are simply channeling the information, the divine beauty of that, and putting it into form and sharing it in the world. And when we remember that those things are not ours, but that they are actually gifts from the divine, it aligns us in a deeper humility. And then you can ask the book, you can ask the painting, you can ask the monologue, the script itself, and say, okay, what's the best thing that can happen? How blessed are we? How does it get better than this? What's next? And what happens is those veils of illusion begin to burn away and new levels of awareness and of mastery set in, where you remember, or you become illumined, with what the next step is, with what the most divine way forward is in any endeavor, and you know it. It's a certainty, it's a knowing that is unlike that which can be figured out with our mind. Mind is reason, and it's important to be able to utilize the mental sphere and actually master it, absolutely. Yet, the heart always knows. The heart always knows. And we're allowing ourselves to go beyond reason and drop into the heart, and let the heart that is the one heart that connects all beings gift us the divine guidance in our way forward, that all beings may be served. Okay. Past lives. Past lives and completion right next to each other. Two major arcana cards. Remember this last week. We were completing a cycle. We were seeing ourselves come to fruition, come to the ending of certain patterns, of certain ways of living, of certain ways of being and doing life. And in this way, in alignment with our spiritual practices, our meditation specifically, that third eye was able to click into place and bring us into a new level of awareness. Now, and through these new levels of awareness, this week, there is a focus on this past lives energy. So if you see this, it is like an hourglass. There is what is above is below. Who you've known in the past, you know now. How many times do you feel you've been incarnated on this planet? Do you feel that you've been here before? And if so, once, twice, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, how old does your soul feel with regard to it being present on this planet? How many people do you think you know? Friends, family, lovers, sisters, brothers, cousins, random people at the store, at the gas station. Are these all people that you've known before? Who do you know from before? Personally, I feel that I've been here since this planet was sparks and rocks, before animals, before beings. I also feel a deep alignment with the whale, and I feel that I have been a whale on this planet. Whales are old, and I feel that I've been here many, 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 countless actually times on this planet. Because of that, I know a lot of people here. That's just straight up. I know a lot of people here. No matter where I travel in the world, there's like a recognition, and I always meet people who feel soul connected. I just do. And there's people who will open doors for you. There are people who will come out of the woodwork. When you start to recognize who you've been, not even, well, okay, wait, no, you don't even have to do that. When you just start to recognize the possibility that you've been here before, you start to recognize that there's people here that are that remember you, that know you from before, and that are here to serve you along your path. That's all we do. Sometimes the teachings come in the darker side of things, and they might hurt us, hurt our feelings or be emotional in those ways of past lives. Like, for example, Louise Hay had said once that if you believe in this past life thing, that perhaps if you had a parent that was an alcoholic, that you made a certain agreement on a higher plane before both of your souls came into this earth and into these bodies in this life, where you said, you know what, I want to learn the lessons of forgiveness. And this person said, okay, well, or this soul said, I want to learn the lessons of addiction, and we're going to learn them together. We're two souls and we know each other, and we're going to do this together. And whoever else all those soul groups are that had this whole community connection of whether it's family, friends, and all that, who all agreed, like, okay, we're going to come down and we're going to work on these issues. So yes, there can be lessons. But this week, I don't feel it's so much about the heavy bevy. I feel it's about the lighter, brighter. It's about relaxing into remembering perhaps who you've been before. Like how I'm like, I was a rock, I was a spark, I was a whale, and that's my truth. What's your truth when it comes to past life? How many times have you been here before? And based on that, how many people? How many people do you know out in the world? How many people do you know in your circles that you felt from the instant a familiarity with? I know you from before. I just feel like we're family. I feel so close to you. I feel like I could tell you everything. I feel like you already know me. All those ways of connecting and of just feeling innately and naturally towards one another. So the reason why I bring this up is because it's remembering who you are. It's remembering that there are an infinite amount of beings here on this planet that are willing and ready to hold you, to see you in your truth, to acknowledge you, and to help you along your way. We are still completing. We are still closing. We are still creating closure in our life when it comes to certain relationships. And there will be certain relationships where it's just obvious. Friendships, old lovers, where you're like, that cycle is over. I thought there was more to that, but it's really over. And it is such a blessing because those lessons, those teachings, those gifts that we've shared with those individuals, let us honor them. Let us bless them. And then let us move on. Let us move on, because when one door closes, another door opens. So if you hadn't felt a sense of completion with certain relationships, people, places, and things, this is the week. And get to work. So there's an energy letter video, I'll put a link here, where we write an energy letter from our higher self to someone else's higher self. And I have a video that breaks it all down. And it is such a potent tool. Please, if anyone has used this tool, put a little comment in the comment box below and let people know, like, yes, it works, because it is so powerful and it is pure metaphysics. When you release your feelings and you give yourself freedom to express your truth, and to also share with integrity your truth with another person, maybe those things that you would feel afraid or ashamed to say in the 3D, what happens is it collapses time and it creates a healing on both ends for the highest good. And so in that way, perhaps there's relationships or situations, bosses, work, family members, that you feel you can't talk to them in the 3D. Or like once I had a Reiki student who had an abortion, but the baby was, energetically, the baby was still in her stomach. And there was a lot of work there to do that forgiving and that completion and that closure and that releasing. So you can imagine, where is that showing up for you this week? What needs completion? It's really important that we do this week, right? Last week was like the training wheels. We were getting everything calibrated, getting that third eye sparked up, getting ready. But now we're in. We're in. We're in, meaning we're out. We're in, meaning we're attaining knowledge and wisdom of how to get out of the matrix so that we can be in the realm of greater possibility outside of what the world proposes, burn through new levels of awareness. Remember that we've been here before and that people are here. They got your back. There's people here who share your level of consciousness. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And step up and do the work. Write it out in your journal. Write energy letters. Say prayers. Light a candle to complete whatever it is. If it's an addiction, if it's just stuff within yourself. Patterns, habits, addictions. What things? Relationships. Old friendships where you're like, you know what? They just don't, and I just keep yes, but I really mean no. If you can't do a 3D with them face to face and say, this relationship, this friendship, I know we've known each other for 17 years, but it's just not working for me anymore. If you don't feel that it's time for that or it's not appropriate, you can put all that in an energy letter and tell their higher self. And they'll get the message. As much as they are ready to receive the message, they will get the message. We had this recently, maturity. The throat, the third eye, and the crown. This is all about us not just going through the motions of reading all the spiritual books and posting all those spiritual memes and going to all the workshops. It's doing the work. It's doing the work. It's showing up and learning how to utilize our experiences as opportunities so that we can practice self-mastery, that we may come into greater love and light, and also express, hear, see, and connect through a higher wisdom, through a maturity within ourselves. So it's one thing to just talk all spiritual and metaphysical, and it's another thing to actually get down in the playground and do that kind of work. And that's what you're being invited to do. And there's a certain part of you that already knows. You're ancient. You are ancient. There's a part of you that already knows, that is emblazoned, I love that word today, emblazoned with majesty and with wisdom and with compassion. And our job this week is, through all of this work we're doing, is to come back full circle into embodying the master we are, embodying that maturity that is ours innately. And that comes from experience. That comes from direct knowledge of experiencing the path of healing ourselves, of experiencing the path of extending in love, the experience of forgiving. Not just thinking about it, not just thinking about what it would be like to meditate every day, but doing it. You know what I mean. So on one hand, it's an active week with a lot of work energetically, and on another hand, it's a steady week where we just keep in the zone of connecting with Source. And remember, you are ancient. This is so powerful. Keep an eye out for those past life lovers, friends, people that you feel that connection with. And allow yourself to be seen by them. Allow yourself to see them too. Recognize them, and perhaps there's an opportunity to actually say it. I know you from, I don't know, I feel like we were sisters, or I feel like you were my father, or, maybe it's not appropriate to go there, but you might be like, oh, whoa, I'm totally getting a download here. Just collect them, journal them. This is all just such beautiful, intricate, and interesting stuff. Complete. Where do you need to complete? Where can you complete this week so you can come in even greater majesty into the maturity and the wisdom that you are? How beautiful. I feel like we're supposed to pull one more. And so we will, or it'll pop out. Let's see. Calling on all the divine love and light of this universe. Is there one more card for this reading? Oh. Two more. Look at this power pack. The Creator in Ordinariness. The Creator, third chakra, emblazed. Right? The Creator knows and trusts their heart. They are so attuned with truth, with the truth in their heart. And they know how to own it in their body and embody it in the world, that they create their perfect paradise, their perfect heaven on earth, by way of simply doing nothing. By way of simply being ordinary. Card of fire. Card of earth and grounding. Card of fire. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Card of earth and grounding. We fire up when we practice. Right? We ask the right questions. We open up to the realm of new possibilities. We fire up our third chakra. Our I am here. We learn how to embody that which is, but we also, as the creator, we also connect with that source. And as we were saying at the very beginning of this reading, we're asking those right questions, and we're not deciding what the answer is. We're leaving it to source, to something greater than ourselves, to show us. We're being general, not specific. The creator knows. They are so meditating and so in tune with their heart and with truth and with source that they don't have to use law of attraction. They don't have to try to create anything by way of them simply relaxing, being in honor of their truth, creating the correct conditions within themselves, being in nature, being open, being receptive. The divine is created for them. The way is made for them. And that's what your gift is this week. Holding that space for yourself, holding that space for yourself of being a conscious co-creator without trying to create a thing, letting it come to you by way of the divine. And so it is. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I am so very grateful again for your subscribing. And listen, when you do subscribe and you hit the red button, it's down here. I forget on what side, but there's a little bell next to the subscribe button. And once you've subscribed, hit the bell if you haven't yet, and you will get little notifications of when my videos are available. So you don't have to go scrolling all the way through YouTube. You will simply get a little notification through that bell. You'll see it. It will be red. If you are new, thank you for watching. Go to my website. Link is in the description box, tuesdaymaythomas.com, and receive your free copy of my ebook, The Higher Self Blueprint of Mastery. And that way we can stay in touch. You'll receive 1 or 2 newsletters from me every month. Check out my free book, The Nowosphere, Book 1, Understanding Your Spiritual Sensitivity. It is available on iBooks and at Kindle. And of course, check out my book, The Reiki Apprentice, and I have so many more books coming for you. I'm so juicily excited and working away here to release more and more offerings and more teachings. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of my world and my life, and being my past life people. You know who you are, maybe. Blessings and namaste.